Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today I'm going to be sharing with you my camera settings, controller settings, all those things, just my general settings. I've had a couple of questions already regarding especially what camera settings I'm using and what are the best camera settings to use in FIFA 22. So without further ado, going straight into my camera settings and what I recommend using. I'm using at the moment telebroadcast. Now for me, this is the best camera in the game, and I've been using this one for quite a while. I have explained in previous videos when we've done the camera settings vid. I used to play just on the regular telly. I like the telebroadcast. It just gives like a slightly higher elevated view of the pitch. I'm not a big fan of like the co-op camera. I know a lot of people do like to use the co-op camera. But for me, that's just a little bit too far zoomed out. I just feel really detached from the game, and it just kind of it makes it, in my opinion, it makes it quite difficult to kind of be in the game. I just feel like I'm really far away, and I just don't like the feeling that gives. You know, the classic camera, just a little bit too low down for me. I'm not a huge fan of that. And I tried out, you know, a couple of the other cameras, like the pro cameras and stuff like that, and especially the EA Sports Game Cam. That's a new one that was in the game. I think that's the one that you get from default, like when you first go onto the game, and it just confused the hell out of me because the camera doesn't actually move with the play. It kind of just tilts. So yeah, it just doesn't really work for me. But telebroadcast is the way to go. And then to make it even better, I go with camera height on 20 and the camera zoom on 0. So this gives me a more elevated look and slightly more zoomed out, so I can see the full length of the pitch. And it can be really, really important, and was a bit of a game changer for me, because one thing that you can struggle with sometimes is, if you know, one thing that used to happen to me a lot is people used to cross the ball back post, because I didn't have the camera zoom all the way in, it was just sort of on the standard 10 and 10. I couldn't actually see the player at the back post. And then when I went and changed to the camera height at 20 and the zoom at 0, it now allows me to see pretty much the whole pitch, sort of 80% of the pitch, but I don't feel like as disconnected as I did when I was using the co-op camera. So it just didn't quite obviously give the same feel as the co-op camera, and I really like the telebroadcast camera. It's very effective and a real game changer to me. One thing to note with the cameras is it doesn't give you don't get the same look on every single stadium. Some stadiums give you a slightly different view. I know last year I used the Mercedes-Benz Stadium with the Atlanta Falcons play there, and that one gave me a slightly like higher view, which wasn't telebroadcast. It kind of had more of a co-op feel to it. But then some cameras, like for example at Stamford Bridge, are a little bit lower down and kind of more the classic style. So different stadiums will give obviously a slightly different view. Some stadiums like Anfield or the Bernabeu or, you know, the Wanda Metropolitano, they kind of give you the really good view. So they're kind of stadiums, but your stadium will impact sort of the view you get. So make sure you are aware of that when you are choosing your stadiums. In terms of just some other settings that we came across, obviously difficulty level we play on Legendary. We will have a video coming out soon on squad battles and how to beat that and get max points. That will be coming out very soon. Obviously the competitor mode is something that you do want to turn off if you are playing squad battles, because obviously if you have the competitor mode on and the player-based difficulty, obviously when you have the player-based difficulty, what that means is the really high level players. So if you play like a really bad team and it's got Haaland in it, he will play a difficulty level above what you selected. So if you select to play on Legendary, you play a bronze team that's got Haaland in it, and that Haaland will play on ultimate difficulty, whereas the rest of the team will play on Legendary. So make sure you got these turned off just to make that a little bit better. I know squad battles is very, very difficult at the moment, and it's definitely something that's going to get changed very soon. And obviously the last thing is the controller settings. Now this is something that has obviously been changed massively this year. We've got this competitive master switch, which is for mandatory in all online game modes. So when you're playing rivals, your champs as well, this is going to be turned on, and you can see how it changes the settings, especially a lot of like the automatic stuff. So people that used to kind of rely on the game to do a lot of defending or sometimes auto clearances and things, as you can see when that master switch is turned on, pretty much everything becomes manual and you have to do everything yourself, which I think is brilliant. It's going to put kind of the control more back in the players' court, and you're going to have to do more of the work yourself, which is really, really good. But yeah, obviously that competitive master switch is on when you're playing rivals and champs. And then in terms of like the attacks and the defense, I just play on the classic. You can see obviously the presets. I just play on the classic. I don't like using the alternative or the one button or anything like that. I don't know anybody that doesn't use classic, but for me, I just use the classic and it works super, super well. But these are obviously For me, they're the standard settings, they're the default settings, and I've got so used to using them now that I wouldn't recommend changing them. I think it's just going to make it a lot more difficult. But for me, the classic controller settings are the way to go. So as you can see, they are all my settings. There's the camera settings, there's the controller settings, and there's a few other bits and bobs that we do use, and that's what we are going to be using pretty much throughout the year. I very rarely, if ever, change this. So if you do ever have any questions regarding my camera settings, you can refer to this video and just copy what we use, and you'll see that it is very, very good. But that is all for today's video, guys. So if you enjoyed, do drop a thumbs up. If you found it very, very useful, do hit that subscribe button. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.